Hey everybody, this is Neon. Welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is probably one of the saddest videos we've ever had to record. Late last night here in the U.S., a very well-respected anime studio, Kyoto Animation in Japan, was a victim of arson, and many animators, many workers died. Very, very shocking news, very, very tragic news. It did break very late last night. We reacted on Twitter, but I didn't have time to do a video. When I heard about it, it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to talk about it today. And I really don't know what to say to this. It is shocking. And especially, in Japan, which you don't really hear too often about this level of, depravity, criminal activity, in Japan, and with the anime industry, being involved. It's, we're going to cover it, obviously, because we have so many, viewers that, are huge anime fans. One thing that really bothered me, I'll tell you the truth, last night, is there were some really off-color jokes about this. And I get it. Sometimes people are overly sensitive about tragedies and like, well, we're just trying to lighten the mood or whatever. There were some jokes, people were saying things like, well, we're not going to get a second season of whatever anime series or, whatever. And, I don't think this is a time for that. I get, some people deal with grief in different ways, and it is very shocking news. But to make jokes about 33 people dying, a horrible death, I just think is really, really uncool. It's very uncool. So this is not going to be a joke-filled episode of Clownfish TV. We do joke about stuff often. We do poke fun at pop culture. We do poke fun at the anime industry, and I have nothing funny to say about this. So I've got a couple different versions of the story here. This is coming from the Associated Press. Man shouting, "You die," kills 33 at Japan anime studio. A man screaming, "You die," burst into an animation studio in Kyoto, doused it with a flammable liquid, and set it on fire Thursday, killing 33 people in an attack that shocked the country and brought an outpouring of grief from anime fans. Can you imagine that? I hate to say it, but I actually would imagine something like this happening in the U.S. before, it happened in Japan. We've had, certainly our fair share of crazy criminal activity and horrible deaths over here. 36 others were injured, some of them critically, in a blaze that sent people scrambling up the stairs toward the roof in a desperate and futile attempt to escape. It was proved to be Japan's deadliest fire in 2 decades. Others emerged bleeding, blackened, and barefoot. The suspect, identified only as a 41-year-old man who did not work for the studio, was injured and taken to a hospital. Police gave no details on the motive, but a witness told Japanese TV that the attacker angrily complained that something of his had been stolen, possibly by the company. So, is it possible that the attacker thought that, and we get this all the time on the internet. We've actually had this when we did webcomics. We've had, people complain to us that we stole their idea when we literally have never heard of their idea. It just happened to be something, that was coincidental, that people had very similar ideas, and they, one person published something and one person didn't. If there's no connection between the people, at all, then how can you say, somebody stole something? So is it possible, that this person, maybe the details will come later, did have some connection to the company at some point? Maybe he pitched a series, or is he just insane? Did he just think that, there was a series on TV that was very similar to, an idea he had in his head, and because of that insanity, he felt the need to burn the studio down? I don't know. I could see something like this happening in Hollywood before I could see it happening in Japan, because there are a lot of, crazy people out there that think that, so-and-so company took my idea, even though I never published it, I never talked about it, nobody knows who I am, but somebody, stole my idea. Most of the victims were employees of Kyoto Animation, which does work on movies and TV productions, but is best known for its mega hit stories featuring high school girls. Moe. They do a lot of Moe. The tales are so popular that fans make pilgrimages to some of the places depicted. The blaze started in a 3-story building in Japan's ancient capital after the attacker sprayed an unidentified liquid accelerant, police and fire officials said. There was an explosion, and then I heard people shouting, some asking for help. A witness told TBS TV black smoke was rising from windows on upper floors. Then there was a man struggling to crawl out of the window. Japanese media reported the fire might have been set near the front door, forcing people to find other ways out, which is even more horrifying. I mean, when you look at the attacks on the Twin Towers, the most horrifying deaths, I think, I don't think it was those who were inside who were maybe, died from smoke inhalation or something, collapsed on it, whatever. They probably died quicker than the people who jumped out of the window, and that's what I'm picturing in my mind is people desperately trying to get out of the building, which is horrifying to know that there's no way out. This is just horrifying. The building has a spiral staircase that may have allowed flames and smoke to rise quickly to the top floor. Fire expert Yuji Hasimi told NHK that paper drawings and other documents in the studio may have contributed to the fire's rapid spread. Yeah, there's a lot of paper in an animation studio. There are a lot of storyboards, a lot of cells, probably. Maybe they've got, a lot, years worth of documents and records, from all the series they've worked on. Firefighters found 33 bodies, 20 of them on the 3rd floor and some on the stairs to the roof. They were trying to get out, where they had apparently collapsed. Kyoto fire officials said 2 were found dead on the 1st floor, 11 on the 2nd floor. So they were trying to get out, and they died. A witness who saw the attacker being approached by police told Japanese media that the man admitted spreading gasoline and setting fire with a lighter. She told NHK Public Television that the man had burns on his arms and legs and complained that something had been stolen from him. She told Kyoto News that his hair got singed, his legs were exposed because his jeans were burned below the knees. He sounded like he had a grudge against the society, and he was angrily talking to the policeman, though he was struggling with pain. He also sounded like he had a grudge against Kyoto Animation. Suddenly, Office Space seems a lot less funny. Everybody jokes about, the incident with the stapler, and he was going to burn the building down. And this is, sounds very similar to that, except horrible, just absolutely horrible. Survivor said he was screaming, "You die," as he dumped the liquid. According to Japanese media, they said some of the survivors got splashed with the liquid. He said it was gasoline. Kyoto Animation, better known as KyoAni, was founded in 1981 as an animation and comic book production studio. Yeah, they did Lucky Star, K-On, and a bunch of others. The company does not have a major presence outside Japan, though it was hired to do secondary animation work on the Pokemon feature and a Winnie the Pooh video. Actually, anime fans know Kyoto Animation very well. They do. So my heart is in extreme pain. Why on earth did such violence have to be used? The company president said. Hata said the company had received anonymous death threats by email in the past, but he did not link them to Thursday's attack. I mean, anybody who puts anything out there gets, quote unquote, death threats. Very few people actually follow through. And I think that's why, even on the internet, you hear about, internet celebrities getting threats. And sometimes it's people just talking smack. And sometimes I think you really have to take every threat seriously, take every threat, because you don't know. You don't know who's going to do something horrible like this. Anime fans expressed anger, prayed and mourned the victims on social media. Crowdfunding site was set up to help the company rebuild. Fire officials said more than 70 people were in the building at the time. The death toll exceeded that of a 2016 attack by a man who stabbed and killed 19 people at a nursing home in Tokyo. A fire in 2001 Tokyo's entertainment district killed 44 people in the country's worst-known case of arson in modern times. So this is this is just awful. I mean, this is just awful. I really don't know what to add to this. When the news broke last night, and like I said, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning here Eastern time. And at that point, it was several people were injured, but, you know, there were only, I mean, not only, but there were 2 people dead. And then it went to 10 people dead. And now it's 33 people dead. Again, you know, the fact that they were trying to escape makes it worse. You know, it's just a horrible, horrible tragedy. It's a horrible tragedy. A huge loss, obviously, for the families of those who were killed or injured. It's a huge loss for, you know, the business, a huge loss for anime fans, a huge loss for Japan. Because every time something like this happens, wherever it is, whatever the circumstances are, it just reminds us that we're not as safe as we think we are. We're not as civil as we think we are, you know, and you think it can't happen to you, and it does, you know, it can. I'm sure a lot of people in Japan were like, well, Japan's pretty safe. The anime industry's safe. You know, I'm just going to work, drawing anime. There's nothing to worry about. And then something like this happened. So this version of the story from BBC News, they actually talk about how Kyoto Animation, KyoAni, is known for paying its animators a regular salary, breaking with the industry standard of paying per frame, which is seen as putting extreme pressure on staff. Yeah, I've actually heard that before, because we've talked about multiple videos about how the anime industry, you know, animators they work under pretty extreme conditions for very, very little money. And this studio actually, from what I understood, was pretty decent to its people. And, you know, to have them, you know, be the ones that this happens to is just, you know, just adds, you know, kind of an extra layer, I think, of sadness to an already terrible, terrible situation. So, if we have any more news on this, we'll keep you posted here on Clownfish TV. I don't know what else to add. I mean, I don't even know what to say in situations like this. It's, you know, we don't usually do videos that cover tragedy. We try to keep it lighthearted, but, you know, it's horrible. It's horrible. And there's going to be a huge ripple effect, I think, for a lot of people, you know, after this. So yeah, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the family, the company, and you know, Japan. It's a horrible tragedy. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.